This was quite a long movie. By the first half of it, I was genuinely confused why the reaction to this film was so divided when it was released in theaters. I loved almost everything about the first hour and a half. We get to see some filmmaking within the story, which is always something I love to see, and the story also did a good job of showing the two sides of Hollywood. You've got the publicity and big parties and big checks, but you've also got the public opinion and the massive toll it takes on everyone. And although I wish it was focused on a little more as the story progressed, it also does a good job of showing the transition from Hollywood from silent pictures to sound, and the impact it had on so many different positions. Whenever it was addressed, however slightly it was, I really enjoyed it, especially with the nice tie-in at the end where we see the footage of the old lots being torn down, and the new stars coming in. But I still would have liked to see more throughout much of the second and third acts. The way the film ends with the progression of film throughout history was also a nice touch, although it did feel like it went on for too long, and it made the entire film feel like a letter to cinema. Not necessarily a love letter, but a letter. Because this was a part of my Oscar nominee viewing, I also made sure to look at what this was nominated for beforehand, and I definitely think it was deserving of all 3 nominations for original score, costume design, and production design. There was a lot of music throughout, and it was definitely a strength that stood out to me. Both the costume and production designs are very intricate and fit with the era this story was being told in, but I don't know how good Babylon's odds are at the Oscars. This review is obviously being written beforehand, and it'll probably come out after the awards, so by the time you're all watching this, you'll know we're not. So like I said, I loved the first half, but once the story started to focus more and more on Nellie, played by Margot Robbie, I started to lose interest. I really liked her character when she was first introduced and we see her acting capability on set, and my interest in her really carried all the way through to the era of sound, because we see how some actors who were really talented visually were not necessarily going to fit in now that they had to speak on screen. The one scene where sound is still relatively new, and everyone on set is stressed about this one scene, I loved that. But after that, I got tired of Nellie and everything the character was going through, making a lot of those scenes rough for me to watch. I also wasn't interested in the whole plot with the gambling debt, which leads us to Toby Maguire, who honestly felt just like a way to pass time throughout the story. I was never interested in his character, and everything with the debt being paid off and the repercussions of it just bored me near the end. However, there were still a lot of characters here that I enjoyed a lot. Manny Torres, played by Diego Calva, was a standout for me, and I loved seeing his journey throughout the movie, especially the first half. He shows a lot of emotion, and it was very easy to relate to and care about this character. Jack Conrad, played by Brad Pitt, was another standout. I wasn't as sold on him in the first half, but especially once the era of sound in film starts to roll around, seeing its impact on someone like him was another interesting piece. Lady Faye and Faye Palmer were 2 characters that I absolutely loved when we saw them on screen, but I would have liked to see more of them, especially Faye. Obviously she wasn't the main character, but I wouldn't have been upset if she had just as big of a role in the story. Jumping around so much made it a little hard to follow, but if we could have seen more of her, I wouldn't have minded at all. Then again, part of the reason I think her scenes had so much weight and pizzazz to them was because we as an audience know so little about her. Overall, while this movie was quite long, it was definitely worth it, and it exceeded my expectations coming in. I'd have to look again at some of my other top films, but this may very well be in my top 10 from 2022, and as of me writing this, I've seen almost 70. Let me know what you thought of Babylon if you've watched it for yourself, and comment down below what videos you'd like to see in the future. Is there a movie or series you want me to watch and review? Let me know. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more movie content, and follow me on my various platforms all listed in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.